And here we go. We're live. Hey, welcome, Randall and Neil. How you guys are doing?
Awesome.
Wow, good to you.
Great. Hey, we're getting out of this pandemic slowly but surely. Things are looking up, feeling better. How are you guys doing? How do you feel about it?
I would agree. Things finally do appear to be coming to a bit more like normal in the UK now. People are actually going outside and talking to the people, and events are happening. It's exciting times.
And if you live in this part of the world, it's like we're coming out of hibernation. Summer is upon us, it seems, unofficially. So we're feeling alive.
And I think, Randall, you went to your first concert last night, so you're feeling even better.
Not the first one, but the best one.
Oh, there you go. All right. So for all you folks, this 60 minutes we're going to run through is we're going to talk about the channel partner alliance. We'll talk about, why it matters, why we did it, and what's in it for you as an MSP. We'll talk a bit about the vendors, how they participate in this as well. And the main thing is we want to do at least one session, one master chat that talks about this program, this thing we built specifically for MSPs and VARs and so on. To kick this off, I just wanted to say that we really don't care what you buy, what you sell. We're very independent, unbiased. We're not doing this with any purpose of selling something to you on the back end, right? As you know, we're news media, we do events, we do many things, and our mission is to give back to the channel and to help them to become bigger, better, stronger, and smarter, which has always been our mission forever. And this is one way we're doing this. Now, when we started this whole journey, it was about how do we help the channel partners, but that was pre-pandemic, right? And what we did, everything, of course, was pre-pandemic, was not virtual. There was no platform. There was no online anything. It was just we're meeting MSPs and putting them in groups together and helping them to figure out, how to grow their business and so on. Something that Randall brought to us and we chatted about many times in this show called the Mastermind Peer Group. And again, if you've never experienced one of those things, it's just crazy awesome. And we recently did one a couple weeks ago at our last in-person event. So pleased to report that mastermind sessions are also now back to in-person, and we are ecstatic. So there we go. So that's generally the genesis for how this started. And as we hit the pandemic, of course, we went home and we had to figure out how to bring this all virtually. And this is where Neil came in with his skill set and the platform we pulled together with all the coaches to create literally a virtual space where everybody can go and just simply find whatever they need to grow their business. So that's sort of why we did what we did, and hopefully, the channel partners out there, the MSPs and VARs, regardless if you're involved with any other group or not, it might be worth the investment, the membership fee to kind of like kick around, check it out, because you're going to find stuff for sure that's going to help you in your business. So that's the premise, the promise, right? We're going to help you to build your business bigger, better, stronger, and smarter. But what the hell is it, right? I mean, what's inside? So I'm going to throw the first question out there to my colleagues. What is this thing called the Channel Partner Alliance? Who wants to take a crack at that? Or maybe both of you. Who's going to go?
I look at it as well, we talked about it almost like a business school, but it's more than a school. It's more like a business university, because we're not talking about grade school here. We're talking like a high level of education. We got some of the most interesting coaches that have something really interesting to bring to the table that is focused on our industry, which is a very big differentiation. You can go to all kinds of other events, all kinds of other organizations, a lot of them which are amazing. But if they're not in our industry, they don't understand the challenges we have. Like, I can't go to a mom group and really be a big contribution because I'm not a mom, I'm a dad. So you want to find people that are like-minded, and this is the place to be. And it's not just one-sided conversation, which I think is the biggest thing. It's really a dialogue. So all our partners, we get to talk to them. We get to have sessions where they can ask questions. We get to have mastermind groups where they can participate fully and really open up And that peer-to-peer is what makes this so much different than just this educational portal. It's a conversation.
Neil, what's your spin on it?
Well, I think Randall's got some good points there, which it is a conversation, and it kind of in that introduction, Jimmy, you said so much, and there's so many things we pick on. I know we're going to circle back and cover these lots of things off, but for me, it's kind of like it was a case of we needed to adapt. We need to go from the world to physical. We need to go to virtual, and a lot of people in those situations would have just answered that virtual problem. But I think what was very clever about our initial discussions and what we've built is we said, actually, how do we build something which is not just going to get you through the pandemic, this virtual experience, which we thought maybe over in 6 to 9 months, but how would it actually be useful to our clients and customers beyond that point? So in reality, it's the system which adds value to the physical. So you talked about the power of mastermind, and if you've never belonged to a mastermind, please do yourself a favor and go and join one. And in my opinion, the only thing which makes a physical mastermind even better is when it's supported by a virtual mastermind, so you can carry on those conversations and work on shared projects and outputs in between big session groups without it being overly time consuming. So I think that's, for me, it's like, what have we done? We've taken what people are learning, like Randa said, specialist knowledge, things designed especially for the MSP. So I would say, I think we've got about 30 masterclasses live at the moment, and I know more are coming live all the time. And I would say that for the price of membership, which we're going to keep secret to later, but for the price of membership alone, any one of those masterclasses, watch once, you're getting your money back. It's fantastic value from some exceptional coaches.
You know, you mentioned something that that I realized like after it was done, and that is when you marry the virtual platform, right, with the in-person, some magic happens because the conversation can continue 365 days a year whenever you are available. So if you want to catch up on the notes, connect with people at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can, right? So it's quite interesting how it's all coming together. And I do believe we had the time as well to bake it out properly over the pandemic to make sure we're building something for the future. So, you know, here we are. And I want to, you know, dissect it a bit more. So
can I add something that might
sure.
help out? Again, to wrap your head around it. When you're a business owner, it's as if you're on an island. You know, you're in your own little head, you're in a little business, you have your employees, and you have to take care of this little island. But there's so many questions that a business owner has that you can't have access to or answers to quickly. And the best way to do it is to build bridges with the other little islands that are around you. And that's what we try to do. When you have a very specific problem and you can basically walk over to your next door or across the country island and get that answer, the time that you're saving is the most critical thing. I mean, instead of spending a month of doing your due diligence, when you can just pick up a phone, get on a Zoom call, get in a session, post it in one of our groups, and get an answer from somebody that's in the same business, maybe even the same size as you, the time saving alone is, how much is that worth to you? How much is time worth to you? How much is time worth playing with your kids or having a night out with your wife, not having to be stuck looking at the SKUs and all kinds of bells and whistles on a product that you're trying to evaluate?
For sure. Wife, husband, spouse, everybody. You know, here's the thing. So I think we're onto something, all right? And I'm just saying that I'm all in and supporting this mission because I believe in it. And I don't support things that I don't believe in. And if anybody want to know about us, by the way, I'm Julian. If you're not sure, you can follow me on LinkedIn as well. You can go to Each on the News. We publish news media and all that stuff. So do your due diligence as well on us. Randall actually was with an MSP, sold it, and now he helps MSPs to become better. And Neil is a rock star when it comes to sales coaching. He runs so much stuff. I'm afraid to describe it all. But if you want to have someone in your court regarding sales and what's going on in the world today, you know, Neil is your guy.
I think I can add, like Randall, add a bit there now. I mean, the bottom line is, do your due diligence. Look at the expertise we get access to, because what we've done is we've put that jack into our brains and we've downloaded that experience and we've systemized it and turned it to repeatable processes, which is baked into the platform. That was the kind of the mission. How do you get that expertise from all these coaches, quality checked and controlled, and available to that mass audience? So it's beautiful. You could go through and you can look at all the masterclass and go, I don't like that coach. I don't like that coach. That coach is brilliant. You want to work with that coach? Click on the name. Reach out to them. Take a private contract out with them. Work with them as well. That's what Julian talked about, as not having an agenda. We're just saying we want to bring the best people in, put them within this lovely independent community, and say this is where is potentially your one-stop shop for curated content of all types.
So, I mean, if you find it here, guaranteed it's the right people, the right tools, the right products, because we're not putting anything just because somebody pays us to do so.
Exactly, and the curated part is very important. I mean, have you ever researched a software and you go to a website, maybe a top 5, and then you kind of figure out, oh, the number 1, the actual company's actually built that site to make themselves number 1. So, we don't have that, because I think, Julian, you said it many times before, we don't care. We don't care who you are. If your product is good, we'll promote it. If it stops being good, you're cut out.
True that. I mean, I just did a product review recently, and my opening statement was, hey, here's a bad product. You don't want me reviewing it. So anyways, it works out great. So I want to talk about outcomes, though. A lot of people talk about what is it, why is it, which is all very good things. But as an MSP, I go here, I join the member, become a member. What can I expect as an outcome from this?
Well, if I was tipping on that one, if you want, Randall, I would say the first thing to recognise is that a lot of stuff which we're going to do within the platform is not rocket science. It's stuff you may be familiar with or have heard of elsewhere. But what we do is we do it in a smarter way to support channel growth. So the very first thing it will just challenge you to do, and this is part of the onboarding process, it will go, what's your company vision? What are you trying to achieve in the next 5 years? Because in a lot of cases, you may have a vision, but when was it last reviewed? Is it something you paid a consultant for and it's a lovely printout stuck on a wall, but nobody knows what it means anymore? So we start with kind of like that reflecting process. What am I trying to do? Why am I going to do it? Now, the interesting thing is if you're an organization and you're the MD and you're going to create that vision statement, and then you add other people to your account, whenever they log onto their dashboard, straight away, their vision and mission is going to be accessible for them every day of their life. So you will have mission and vision statements which actually communicate, interact with your staff. So that's the really super high level. And then beneath that, obviously, what we start to do is we start to build out goals. There are thousands of technologies about how to set appropriate goals. Is this a smart target? Are we using Fuel? Are we using Grow? Are we an agile company? Are we a Prince company? There's so many different methodologies. So we started by throwing them all in the dustbin. So what we actually have created is a stack for goal setting, which I like to call is theory agnostic. So it doesn't actually care what your preferred method is. You can use that same method, just working with the labels that we offer. Just follow that same process. But instantly, just because you've done that, it means that any person in your organization who doesn't understand it, suddenly you've got a common frame. So it's like in developers, it's a common runtime language. So I can talk in Java, you can talk in Delphi, and common runtime, we get something we can both understand. I know I've missed my open source, my .NET there, but never mind. And then beneath that, once you've built your goals and you know how they're going to work, we said, well, actually, goals by themselves can still be, they don't feel tangible. So we added an extra layer. We call this expectations. And you can have one or you can have multiple expectations. That's down to you. And all they really are the real world, tangible results you have to see in order to complete that goal. So straight away, if you imagine if you're a member of a team and you're going to go, what am I here to do? But when they look at it on the platform, they go, I see how this connects from my expectation to the goal and over the goal to the mission. So it's a very powerful way at that high level of empowering your entire team to that shared kind of vision of this we're going to do. And what it also then does, which is a good long-term benefit, this is a great way for you as an owner of an aspirational growing MSP to bed in that culture. If I think of some of the Master Chat guests we've had here, it's been very clear that a lot of their success comes from the culture they bake into their business. Anybody who knows about culture in business knows that when your business expands, sometimes that culture can disappear. So again, the platform allows you to bed that kind of culture into everything which they do. I think I've answered that succinctly, but correct me if I'm wrong.
I look at it as nothing is more dangerous than a chef using a dull knife. And what we're trying to do is really sharpen the knife in your business. We know that we can become a bottleneck to our own success. And when we work on that business, we really are sharpening our skills, and it allows us to work way more efficiently. And a dull knife, the danger is that you can actually cut yourself more with a dull knife than a sharp knife. So we want to not only make you make good decisions, but to avoid mistakes that could be costly.
Yeah.
I also want to point out something as well. So this channel partner alliance is not just a place you log in and you click around videos and check out different things and products and blah blah blah. This is not a passive site, right? They're actually tools that you will use in your business every day to help you move the needle up. And Neil just touched on the surface of the tools we have, but we wanted to show you that from day one, we're going to help you get it right, right?
Yeah.
And we understand you might have other things that you're using right now, but getting it right leads you down the path of acceleration, right? Because once you've got the right tools, then we can accelerate your business much faster, right? We'll talk more about the tools as we go, but I also want to talk about the beginning, the first door, knock knock, right? It's not a joke, but when an MSP goes in there and comes to the portal, which by the way they get some time free to play with it, right? The first thing they can do is set up a time, right, to meet with one of our coaches and walk them through it one-on-one, not one in group. We'll do one-on-one. We do one in groups as well, but if you want to have a very good understanding of how to onboard this, we believe that it takes a little bit of effort from our side to ensure that you have the right onboarding experience. And we're not doing this with video, right? Although we have all the videos, if you want to go self-help, we will do this in person, right? Live in person. What do you think about that? Why do we decide that this is important?
I think it's because it's a big concept tool set. There's lots in there, and so it's literally to get people up and running as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Yes, it's all intuitive. There's video support for everything. Could you learn it without that one-to-one support? Yes, you could. But what we've found is sometimes that may mean that you become kind of like fixated on one portion of the application. So you are in it and you say, oh, it's an e-learning platform, or it's a learning management control system. Oh, it's a goal setting tool. It's a marketplace. When it's all those things and more. So I think one of the things with that larger kind of initial interaction is just answer those questions. And obviously we see it as a living community. So as always with a living community, if you're in it, which you can't like go, we would like that. Well, why doesn't it do it this way? Then you can communicate that to us. Then what we'll do is sometimes we'll go, that's great, we'll get it developed. Other times we may go, actually, no, we can't, because it breaks the process. Because at the heart of what we're doing within the tool set is it doesn't matter. Give you an example. You could have somebody who says, I want to use this to run my entire business through it. I'm going to not use anything because I hate Microsoft now. I'm moving away from Microsoft. I'll sell it, but I won't use it. Yeah, I'll sell it, but I won't use it. And so I want to have a CRM. I want to have a diary management system, and I want everything. But all of these things connect back to that central stack of setting a goal, building objectives, building outcomes, and seeing results. Because at the heart of the platform on the tool side is this desire to make every person the best version of themselves. So it's not about turning square pegs into round holes or vice versa, but it's saying based upon everybody's unique talent set, we get the most out of them by helping them support them and grow. So again, because of that, sometimes probably what I could explain via demo. I mean, for a larger company, we'd probably arrange a webinar. If you have 25, 30 people, they want to do it. We won't do that one-to-one. We could do a nice webinar with some presentations. That works as well. But the sooner you get up to speed, the sooner you start to reap the benefits.
So we're basically offering them a white glove onboarding, right? We don't want to just have them go there and poke around. If you want, you can. If you want to poke around, you're welcome to do so. But if you want, we'll give you the white glove treatment at no additional cost as well. Randall, what do you want to say about how we're going to bring people into the fold, so to speak, and what can they expect when they get there?
Well, I think like many things, you have to try it to really understand it. And that's the invitation we have. It's as simple as that. Take our invitation, accept it, try out the platform and see for yourself why setting goals and just taking the time out of our busy lives to actually focus on some of the core things of our business, it's so valuable. It's easy to spend an hour looking at the news, all the bad news, the crazy stuff that's going on in the world, or you go down a Facebook rabbit hole or Instagram rabbit hole. I'm guilty
Waste
of
an
that
hour.
sometimes. But if you can set aside time, even if it's just, maybe an hour, even an hour a week, and pick one segment, like a Neil's sales, for example, and just go down that rabbit hole and see how that will affect your business. We can see tremendous advantages to doing something like that.
So
Not only to your top line revenue, but even to your bottom line. The more you save and the more you make, that gap in between becomes larger. That's money in your pocket.
So let's circle back to the outcomes, right? So generally, the plan is that we take these MSPs into the front door, and after roughly a year, we would like them to have grown their business by at least 30%. That's our mission. Some people grow a lot more, some people grow less. But in general, you're going to move the needle up. I mean, I think it's impossible for you to not move the needle up. Now, we do have some channel partners, depending on their level of maturity within the game, right? They're more towards the exit portion of their business model. And if that's the case, we want you to, because we will find other partners to hook you up with so you can exit. We have really great exit strategies for MSPs that meet the end of the line, so to speak, because you may not want to learn more stuff. You may not want to, build out more stuff. You just want to get out, cash out, and make it happen. And when you go out there trying to sell your business, you might not get really what you want. As a matter of fact, I think a few weeks ago, we did a session with an MSP who just recently merged their company into another MSP. So we are involved in those things all the time. So if you need help in finding a home, right, so you can have a really great retirement, we do that too. But if you feel you want to scale and rev that engine and win that race, we'd love to have you as well. So Randall, go ahead.
That was a great chat that we had, because it was a real life experience of someone who they thought their business was worth this much, but when they really looked at it and went through the numbers, they found out that they're much lower. And by doing a few simple things, they're able to really increase the value. So if you're thinking about selling your company and you haven't done this exercise, you're leaving a tremendous amount of money on the table, because you don't know until you know. You don't know what you don't know. So
I think that's classic,
being exposed to that knowledge, it can be very valuable, and it can make a retirement go from something that's a little uncomfortable, a little tight, to something that's a lot more comfortable.
And I think that's one of the potentials that we haven't got one of these live at the moment, but that'd be a perfect, very specific mastermind where we could pull together 8 or 9 businesses looking to exit and bring in the expert to help them make those changes. And then they can design those changes and record them in the system so they can then see the increase in value as they're delivering it. And the interesting as well is that in that situation, we have a tool in there which is called templating. So with templating, if you've gone on this learning lesson and you've learned how to deliver it, you may go, do you know what? I've just taken this one business and I've grown it over, say, 10 years to this side. I'm exiting. But I've now mapped out all of my processes. So I could actually take that money and I could buy another business. But because I know all my processes, I reckon I could do the entire thing again, but I could do it in 3 to 5 years. Have a second exit. The limits to what you can do with that right community around you, it is there is no limit.
It is no limit. I just want to say that we do have the folks that's gone through the exit strategy and are available to help guide you, give you advice, and actually run with you, right? Shotgun in the car, right? To kind of get you through that process. And we like to tend to the expertise, the people who've done it, that's got the experience in doing it, so they can give you the best advice, not just some random accountant who's looking at the numbers in the bottom line. But that's another topic. The main thing is that depending on where you are in the maturity scale of the MSP business model, right? If it's towards the end and you're looking for exit, we can help you. If you're in the middle and you're still looking for an exit earlier, we can help you to look at that and what that looks like. But the most important thing is we can raise the needle up on all the best business practices you need to figure this out. I also want to add here that we do have an assessment. It's free as well. And that is to test your best business practices. So you can do this online. It's 200 questions. You get free access to it. You just simply answer the questions, and it's going to come back with a score. And it's going to tell you how you are in each area of best business practice with a very simple indication, a red light, a yellow light, and a green light. And from this, it's going to help you to quickly identify the areas where you need to work the most on, the areas that you're really strong in, and the areas where you kind of like, you need some improvement, but you're doing pretty okay. It's almost like, building your strength from understanding your weaknesses and building from a point of reference, so to speak. And interestingly enough, once you know this, once you take this assessment, then you know what you need to do, right? And whether you get it from us or from somewhere else, it doesn't really matter, right? But you now have a roadmap that you can build to actually move towards a better business. And that's another tool that's incorporated into the solution to help you to figure, how to improve your outcomes.
The thing I'd like to add on there, Julian, is again, because everything is connected. So if you're coming in from that perspective and you go, right, I need to set myself some goals, well, you can do that. And as you're building out your goals, you go, well, I've got some expectations. This is my income level. This is my exit date. And then you go, actually, but I don't understand that aspect. Well, then watch a video on it. Then once you've watched that video, you can come back to the expectation. Right, now I can do classic project management. We call them work plans. And I can put my 4-step process in to plug that gap. And again, then I've captured it. And what the system's doing all the way through is these things are set against time limits. So if you're setting yourself a goal, we say a goal's got to be delivered no more than a quarter. If it's bigger than a quarter, it should be broken down smaller. So it's going to tell you, hey, you set this goal 29 days ago. So you should be about a third away from your goal. You go, oh my God, I'm behind. So it's going to motivate you. So you start to get that coaching experience, but it's on the desktop. And there's a whole layer of gamification. So when you do things, we give you points. And when you do bad things or you don't do anything, we take points away. So we can be, slap your wrist a bit. And also,
we can make it fun, in other words, but it's not mandatory. But the main thing is we're trying to make this a great experience, right? And we're getting feedback from the community about what that looks like. The main thing here is that depending on your level of maturity, even if you're a VAR still stuck in VAR land, and maybe 10, 15% of your business is MSP or recurring revenue, but you want to figure out how to jump to the next level, right? We can help you to unblock that problem, that situation that's keeping you where you are. I mean, look, there's like 4 or 5 core things that MSPs sell, right? Like cybersecurity, digital transformation, SaaS, cloud, they're the basics, right? And I think everybody knows those things by now. And so the technology stack of what you sell, right? Certainly we can help there. As a matter of fact, each on the news got thousands of articles with vendors from all over the planet that's got awesome solutions you want to check out if you're looking to build your proper security stack or your proper technology stack. But beyond that, the mission is how to help you convert that stack into a recurring revenue, right? How do you engage with your customers? How do you retain your customers? How do you hire new people? We did sessions on how to hire, people. We did 2 master classes last month on the topic. How do you motivate your staff? How do you manage? How do you lead in this complex world of remote / in-person? How do you do digital marketing? I mean, we do tons of stuff in this area. So there's a lot of moving parts that makes the MSP successful or more successful. And we are making sure that all those moving parts, you can find it here. Maybe, you might have to find a replacement part, right? Maybe you can fix the current part that you have. But whatever that is, we can have that to help you scale the way you want to scale. The other part of this I want to talk about is, what does this do for the community at whole? There is a change happening, and we talked recently about it. I'll be doing another session on that next month about the new ecosystem, where the channel partners are the foundation, the traditional MSPs and VARs, and so on as they evolve their business models. But this new ecosystem is merging together with lots of other players, telcos, digital marketing companies, and accountants, and digital transformation experts and so on. So this ecosystem is gelling. And as it gels, the dots of how people connect to grow their business is also developing. And so the new version is going to be quite different from the older version, right? And so we're on that as well. We're on top of that. We're way on top of that, right? Because we also want to ensure that when you build your business, it's going to be growing to take advantage of the next playing field that we're building right now with the whole ecosystem. So for the channel community as a whole, Channel Partner Alliance is there to literally raise the tide for all the ships, all the MSPs, all of ours, right? So they can become stronger, they can become more effective, and they can not become marginalized, but actually become a leader, the leaders within the channel, the new emerging channel ecosystem. So to do that, though, you can't be doing the same old stuff. You gotta get to the next level. All right. And so that's what we are doing for the bigger community. Look, to be extremely honest, when vendors come to us as Technoplanet, or we are in the business of helping vendors to build their partner systems and build their ecosystems and so on. And the number one question they ask us is, Julian, how can I find the right fit partners for me? Like my magic, And it's no magic, all right? A right fit partner has a lot of moving parts. Their skill set, their abilities, their client base, their certifications, a lot of things that makes a partner the right fit. So what we're also doing in parallel is building a more elite group of channel partners who can then run their businesses more effectively, more efficiently, more productively, which means the vendor community is going to become much more excited about supporting that community because now they can accelerate business and there's no bottlenecks. So it's not just here's my product, here's how to sell it. Yeah, that's cool. But it's really about, do you have the business skills and the capabilities and the sales team and the digital marketing expertise and the leadership to actually drive this to where we need it to be? And I think that's really the exciting part of the community, where the vendors and the MSPs and the channel partners come together to build up, a bigger, better, stronger community. So that's the bigger part of it. Anybody want to add something to that?
I think if you want help from a vendor, you have to show that you're a growth company. If to pick between two buildings that you're going to rent and one is run down and the other one is well maintained, you're going to pick the one that's well maintained because you know that your investment is worth more. So as a vendor, they're going to want to pick companies that are willing to work on their business, not the ones that are letting their businesses kind of just coast. Because when you coast, you don't advance; you actually go backwards. So there is a like on a river. There's always this, what do you call it? Not the tide, but the
Undertow.
well, there's a flow to the river, right? And if you just coast, if you're not trying to go against it, forget it. I kind of totally lost myself.
We'll come back to that thought.
I have this visual of Niagara Falls. If you're just coasting, you're going to eventually get disaster. You kind of have to be active in the efforts you put into your business. You have to move forward at all times, because as soon as you stop being active, you're going back towards the disaster, and you're losing all the grounds that you've gained. So, especially in our business is changing so rapidly. It's impossible for an IT company to be on top of everything. That's why a peer group is there for, because you might be an expert in cybersecurity, but your good buddy next to you is an expert in digital transformation. You help each other out. You give each other your playbooks. Both people win.
I think we're trying to get out there, Randall, is like, don't go with the flow. You know what I mean? Because you might go over the cliff. Start, making your own plans and getting your own direction. So again, that's where we want to go. Neil, before we jump to the next two sections, do you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things there is that we always want to work smarter, not harder. So one of the great things, whether it's individually or within a mastermind group, is as you share good best practice, because you can create these processes using the tools, you've then got a permanent record. So when you want to do that next time round, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, because you go, actually, I did that with the group last month. It's the same process, but now I want to delegate it to someone else in my organization. So you can then just go, here's the template. And so they've got all the structure in place for them, and they've just got to follow it. So it becomes their playbook. And so I think one of the things as well is that we're all time poor, trying to become time rich. So the fact that the platform enables you to accelerate your direction of travel, so we are swimming against the tide, it works perfectly. So I think it kind of like, it's one of those things. If you're looking to develop, you want the best support you can get. And normally the best support is going to cost you hundreds of dollars per hour. And so I'm not going to say it now, but when they get to the price and they realize that actually just for that pittance, just for that tiny amount of little bit of financial incentive to make sure that we can feed our families, they'll actually be able to get that not just for an hour per month or a day per month, but if they want to run it in their business 365 days, they can. Or like Randall said, it's perfectly well suited that if you've got a deadline or a really difficult project where you just need a small team to be laser focused on it for 6 weeks, again, it's going to do that. And all the way through, it will just save them time, week in, week out. And that, again, being up your human resource is a big one.
Well, the peer group concept, I mean, if there was such a thing as a holy grail of the Channel Partner Alliance, I would like to put, the mastermind peer groups in big bold lights and spotlights, because the way it works. And I'll just Randall, actually maybe it's best that you describe it, since you're running more of the mastermind groups. What can you expect from a mastermind group? Do this as quickly as you can.
Well, I'll just give an example of the last one we did. We had an in-person live mastermind group. We had about I'd say 10 partners around the table, and we just went around and we found out what everybody's biggest pain point was. And some were intersecting. Many had the same problems. Actually, that was one of the lessons that they all walked away from, is that they all have the same problems. But we picked one problem in particular to fix that day. And we focused our attention that you become the hot seat when it's your problem. And everybody gives you advice. There's a very specific way we do things. But at the end of the day, we pick one person to help. Everybody gives them advice. And they choose the best advice that they got that day, and they tell us when they're going to implement it. And at the end of the day, the most amazing part, probably my favorite part of the whole process that we've created, is when we go around the table at the end of helping somebody else, and you have to say, well, what did I get out of this experience? And every single person walks away from the table having learned something about their own business, having some new ideas to implement in their own business, even though they were helping someone else. And that is, it's like the law of gravity. You can't defy the law of gravity. Well, it's the same thing with reciprocity. When you help people, things come back. It's a law.
It is truly amazing. If you haven't experienced this, you need to check it out. We've got videos posted on the Channel Partner Alliance website. We describe it in detail as well, the process, but it's unique. It's not a bunch of people getting together on a table and talking stuff. There is a process, a structure to it. And then once you go through the structure once, it's rinse and repeat. But I can tell you that once you've experienced it, it's very rare that someone will say, no, that's not for me.
There was one partner that I loved his comment at the ending. He goes, man, I remember now that I need this so much, because of the pandemic, we haven't been able to get together with other people, and just creating that time, it just fills this need of being able to share, but also getting some answers for our own questions. And I love that comment. We need this. Every business needs this.
Well, when you join, you also get access. We'll do a virtual mastermind with you, right? Or if you're in the neighborhood, you're welcome to come join and get an in-person one. But we'll do a virtual one with you to get yourself, get your feet wet, a general one. Like whoever wants to join up, we'll do one a month type thing. And you can join it, experience it. So you get a feel for it, right? But once you've done the general ones, the real big payoff is when you join a permanent one, which means we pair you together with 8 or so like-minded partners, and you continue throughout the year, right? Meeting as often as you want, some virtually, some in person. It doesn't matter, right? Is whatever the group wants, and then you kind of like continue this this process, and over time, it's impossible, literally impossible, for you to not grow your business by incredible numbers with a peer group. And I can guarantee you that once you get into the right group and you've bonded with them and you're leveraging each other's skills and support, you will never want to leave the group. Friendships are formed. They're having barbecues together. Their spouses are hanging out together. Whatever happens, happens. It just sort of grows from there. The main thing is, at the core of Channel Partner Alliance is bringing you to that point where you get your own mastermind peer group, and everything else, the tools allows you to facilitate that, schedule the meetings, share information, get more coaches, look at the library of coaches and content to decide what you want to bring into your group. So in other words, it's like your superstore, if you will, to find whatever you want to implement into your own mastermind peer group. One more comment, if you want to add, there's Neil on mastermind before we move on to the final 2 sections.
I mean, the key thing is that when you're within a mastermind, you then have a discrete set of tools which are associated to that mastermind group. So they replicate what you get as an individual member, but they're tied to everyone in the group. So you can share ideas and work projects. You can also actually, we have some, this is particular for masterminds, but it works in other contexts as well. We have a specific meeting tool. So Randy can set up the meeting, invite everybody along, convene the meeting. And then as you're going through, as you agree to do things, Randy can just assign that task to you. We just call it a consequence. So you can assign that consequence to you. And that's going to appear instantly on your desktop. And say you're not going to meet for another 4 weeks. Everyone's been assigned their consequences, but any time during that week, you can go back into the meeting minutes, which we just don't have. We've abolished minutes. Who needs them? But what it will show you is all the consequences. And if I assign Randall a consequence on a Monday, and we're not going to meet for a month, but Tuesday morning he wakes up, I'll complete that consequence. Wednesday night, I'll just log on to the meeting, and I can see Randall's done all his pieces already. Oh my God, I need to put my finger out. I may have 3 weeks, but Randall's already done all of this. So all of the tools are designed to support these processes with one simple aim, which is to get you from where you are to where you want to be as quickly and painlessly as possible.
It's just a beautiful thing. Go ahead.
With a little bit of accountability built in.
Yes. It's a beautiful thing. Look, and that's the core of the whole program. So there's a lot of components. We're trying to kind of paint the picture, if you will, of what it is to become a member of the Channel Partner Alliance. And we've got about 20 minutes left. And I want to talk, Master Chats is what we're doing right now. And we do one every couple of weeks or so. And we're always, inviting someone that's interesting to talk about some topic. Last couple of weeks, we talked about sustainability, and we had the head of sustainability from Hewlett Packard that talked about how sustainability works, why it matters, how it can be profitable. It was exciting. And again, all these things you can click around and check out this content as well. So Master Chats are always going to be interesting. You can contribute if you want, and we're always looking for topics. So this is something that is included in the whole program. What I want to talk about now is some of the power tools we have. So we've talked about some tools already. Now we'll talk about a few other tools that is baked in to the platform. The one tool that we've been pushing from the very beginning is we've got this e-procurement platform that when you sign up to it, you then have the ability to check real-time price and availability from all the major distributors, Ingram, Tech, Cenex, and so on. And you can actually place orders and drop ship. So it's a platform that allows you to amalgamate all these distributors' catalogs into one, so you can, use it for procurement purposes. Most people use it to check price and availability and maybe do a drop shipment of items and so on. So that tool is also available to the MSP community. And if you want, we could send you more information, a link to it, so you can play with it, set up an account, and check it out for yourself. The best business practice tool we talked about, right? It's a 200 question thing that's available to you. The goal setting tool we talked about, which I think it's important because it's also a management tool for that. We have some what if tools as well, right? So if you want to monkey around with your pricing model, so I want to drop my price by 10%, right? Who wants to talk a bit about that tool?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that one if you want. It's basically one of those things. Very often within MSPs, you may have like a kind of a general rule for your sales guys, which is, if you want a discount to win a business, but provided it's less than 5%, you can just do that without going to anybody. Anything above 5%, speak to your team leader or your line manager or whatever. But have you thought that figure through? Or is it just because it seems, 5%, 10% discount seems fair enough to me? So you've got accountants probably doing your books for you and doing your proper numbers and your proper projections, but sometimes you want something really quick and easy. So all it really does, it goes, ask you some really basic, back of the fag packet calculation, which is how much do you want to sell? What's your target sales level? What is your price per unit? What is your margin? Is it recurrent revenue or one-off transactions? Then you click a button. And it then just tells you what happens if I add 5%, 10%, 15%. And I think we cap it at 20 because beyond that, you've got to be crazy. And it just tells you little things like how many more units you have to ship to get back to your original target number. So it's just a really quick tool, and this is a theme from our tools, where it gives you a nice bit of business insight without having to work too hard to get there. The flip side of which we've got the reverse of that tool, which is how much more money do I make and how fewer do I need to sell if I increase my price by 5, 10, 15, 20%. That's the better one.
It's a really great way for management to play around with the numbers. All right. We're not victims of the end result always. We have the ability to change, right? So let's say you decide, I want to increase my prices. It's not a matter of just increasing that by 5% and 10% or reducing it or increasing it. It's about how can you get away with this, right? And that means you've got to up your game. You got to maybe offer a deeper, wider service. Instead of discounting, maybe you want to bundle, you want to think it through, right? If you're going to increase your price by 10% and make more money, then how will you do that? How will your customers, get away with you will get away with selling that to your customers, right? How do you make the case? How do you get your salespeople up and running with the right messaging? How do you get your marketing in line to make sure you discuss that and present that to your customers in the best way to get the results that you want? So it gives you an idea of how you can go up and down. It also gives you the information that says, hey, if you're going to do this, you better know how to make the case for that increased value, right? Go ahead.
Maybe you should, June, just give it a couple of examples where it's kind of happened. And so you may have to interpret some of this stuff, the guys, because obviously I'm going to be talking all the UK numbers and facts and figures. But I had a company who were approaching the VAT threshold in the UK, which basically means they're going to have to push their price up by 20%, whether they like it or not. So I managed to talk them into actually, before they went to market, increasing their price by 40%. And then when the VAT was added through, add that on as well. And their entire customer base thanked them. Now, I'm not going to explain to you how I did that because there's a video on the platform, but it is about being aware in advance so you could do it. Or another SaaS company I worked with, where I walked through the door and the first thing I did to them was I said, your price too low, increase all your prices a day by 100%. And they sold more product. Since then, I'm still working with these guys. I've been with them for 8 years now. We've now gone from the original price in 8 years, price increase. The customers are on a different rate. So some at the low end, 300% increase. At the highest end, 600% increase. Customer retention, 100%. Why? Because you can use the tools, you can create a plan, you can create a strategy. Like you said, Julian, you connect your finances, your marketers, and your salespeople, and then people go, that makes sense to me. And you don't lose the customers, but you do reap the benefits.
What a crazy example. So there you have it. It works. It can be done. Maybe not 600% increase, but you can get to where you want to be. So again, we go back to how these tools, like the what if tools, can be integrated and show you how you can convert that into an actual plan to actually execute that. So brilliant stuff. Now, we're going to be continually adding tools to this platform. This is just the beginning of the journey for us. All right.
We're fans of the Swiss Army knife. So
there you go. So
it's going to have more and more contraptions.
pretty soon it's going to be this huge Swiss Army knife with like 1,000 things coming out of it. But the main thing is that we're very cautious and thoughtful when we bake a tool into this. We monitor it, make sure it's the right tool, then we put it into it. Right now, I'll just give you a little bit of a future thing we're working on. We're looking at a marketing automation platform that we can bake into this solution that allows all MSPs, all VARs to immediately have one super crazy, awesome marketing automation platform to do digital marketing that's just click, 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 and go, right? And the secret sauce there, massive library of content so you can click to add. I'm going to leave that for another day because I know digital marketing is a big pain point for pretty much every MSP out there and VAR for most MSPs and VARs out there. And what we're going to do is going to make this an actual SaaS platform that allows you to do your marketing whenever you want, easy, measurable, manageable, with the ultimate power tools, not secondary tools, awesome tools. And we're going to show you how that works. Another thing we're working on is a SaaS procurement. We're a SaaS world. You're buying software from distributors, SaaS distributors right now. They've got marketplaces popping up everywhere. And you as an MSP or VAR, you need to figure out how you're going to be able to sell all the SaaS applications that you want to sell to your customers. And not just promote it, but also provision it, maintain it, bill it, and so on. So we're going to be bringing up a platform that's going to allow all MSPs to figure out whatever SaaS apps that you want to sell so you can bake out your own niche marketplace. So you can go there and sell whatever you want, and retain 100% of your customers. Again, another white label marketplace builder. That's just a bit of a taste of the various tools that we're going to be baking into the solution. We also have our own little marketplace that we're very, very cautious about adding vendors right now. We've only got about 4 or 5, and we're going to be building that more and more. And what that's going to do is we're going to be reaching out to the vendor community and asking them, look, if you want to reach out to our community, the Channel Partner Alliance community, there's an on-ramp for you, right? And so if you've got a tool that we feel makes sense and that the channel partners think that it's working really well, because if they don't like it, we remove it. And in so doing, you've got to incentivize them a bit. Maybe it's a better extra discount, maybe a special white glove treatment, whatever that extra special thing is, we will negotiate to give the members something a little bit extra special from the vendors that we believe makes sense and that the channel community approves. We will never put a solution in there that the channel partner community does not want. So that's a little bit about our marketplace. It's not really about a marketplace where your end customers can go and play, right, and find stuff. It's where you can go and find stuff for your business. But the SaaS platform that we have for the software application and to sell all the tin that you get from Ingram Micro and so on, you can create your own web stores and platforms so you can have your own public-facing marketplace to sell those products to your customers. So that's about how the tools are going to be baked up as we roll this out. And I want to finalize this with the pricing issue and what it costs and then how you get it subsidized. First of all, before we jump off of the tools, anything else that I missed that anybody want to add to it?
Oh, I guess the one add-on as well, Julian, is where you talked about quite the white glove onboarding. And there's also the fact that this isn't mandatory by any stretch, but anybody's welcome to sign up for it. There is, just as part of the membership, live business coaching on a monthly basis. So we're going to run small groups. They'll be slightly larger than the mastermind group with, so maybe 15 to 20 people will be invited, though I suspect not everyone will make it every single time. But they'll get to a real life business coach very often with some experience within this kind of technology channel as well, and jump in those schools. And again, that's just another bit of free value.
The value just keeps building up. It's just crazy value what we're delivering to the MSP community on the membership program. But let's wrap up the session with just about the costing. So the fee is simple. It's $99 a month, right? That's the membership fee, right? $99 a month, and you're in there. You get a few weeks to kind of poke around and see if you like it. And if you like it, it just continues to bill. You can cancel at any time. And that's basically the program. There is no contract to sign. It's just what it is. Now, if you want to get into an actual permanent mastermind peer group, that's a different thing. You do have to commit for 1 year. There is additional fees associated with that. And that program we can walk you through when you get there. All right. So those are the only two things you have to think about when it comes to membership fees. Now, that's the fee, and we think it's very affordable for everybody to put the credit card in there and get that value immediately. However, we're going to offer some ways that you can actually get this even fully subsidized. So no doubt every MSP and VAR there has heard the word MDF funds before and so on. And vendors are very, very keen on supporting their partners to up their skills. They all want to do it. You just got to ask. Right. So everybody has at least a dozen vendors that they do very well with. So we have some letters you can actually just copy paste and send to them to say, hey, I'm taking this membership program, the Channel Partner Alliance, because it helps me to improve my business, blah, blah, blah. And we'd appreciate you if you can, subsidize this with some MDF funds or some whatever funds that you may have available. And I think having that conversation with your vendors is well worth it. In other words, you can get this paid for free, right? Another thing that we are also seeing a lot of MSPs do, and by the way, many of them are moving down that route because MSPs in general, they don't like to pay for anything, as we know, not unless you have to, right? But if you don't have to, why do it? So there's lots of ways for you to do that. We even have a program that if you sign up through the e-procurement tool, we can actually go after the MDF funds from the distributors and use that to help you subsidize your costs. So we have lots of ways to kind of help you fund this if you're interested. Vendors can also play the game. So vendors may want to say, look, I want to offer this to my partners. What's involved? So they can come to us. We can create an instance for them so they can offer it to their partners. And they could either they pay us for the membership fees, and then they can offer it to their partners for free, or there's some sort of a program we can do there for them. So I encourage vendors to reach out to us if you're looking to help your partners to improve their business skills as well. And the last portion of this is government funding. Governments are doing lots of things to help their channel partners scale and the tech community scale, right? And there's lots of programs available for training and for coaching and so on. So there are ways for you to do this. Recently, just here in Canada, there's a program where you can actually get $15,000 from the government to become a digital advisor, right? And there's a process you go through. But if you do this and you qualify, you actually get $15,000, and they allow you additional funding if you want to help your customers to get onto the digital transformation bandwagon. So there are many ways to find the money if that's your big worry, if that's your hurdle. However, we want to encourage you that it's not about the investment, it's about the return on that investment. And I think that for the $99 a month, we've made it as inexpensive as we possibly could to keep the lights on with all this stuff. And I hope you join us in participating and helping yourself and your company. Last words, we've got 1 minute left. I'm going to just go around very quickly what each person would like to say. Randall?
If it makes you money, it doesn't cost you a thing.
There you go.
And my super quick add as well would be the design philosophy where there are 5 streams within the platform. And the remit was to make every single stream worth more than the content price of entry. So each one of those streams at least is got to be worth more than $99. So as Randall said, it's just going to make you money, not cost you money. That's it for us here, guys. And again, the website is channelpartneralliance.com.
Check it out. If you'd like to join us, we'd welcome you. Any questions, comments, send it over to us. We'll answer those. Thank you all. See you guys until next time. Cheers. Join the Channel Partner Alliance.
Join today.